capital of Ghana's western region, Sekondi-Takoradi, has 93,965 houses, but just a little over 43,000 has household toilets, with over more than half of residents in these houses depending on public toilets and other means of defecating.
The general situation of household toilets in Sekondi-Takoradi is average. However, when we go to the peri-urbans, i.e. the rural areas of the metropolis, then that is where we have the problem. In that area or those areas, the statistics we have shows that 70% of our households do not have access to household latrines. They don't have. And this implies that majority of them use open defecation or other means of, easing themselves. People call it wrap and throw. They use some of these things. They defecate in bushes. When you go to those along the beaches, they also defecate along the beaches. And all these things are unacceptable. They are not things that we need to compromise on.
One of the many peri-urban areas of Sekondi-Takoradi metropolis that has several houses without toilets is Kojo community.
When you look at the houses in Kojo, they are very close, and people did not even have space for the manhole construction. So about 95% of us have been relying on the public toilet. The public toilet come with their own challenges. Sometimes you go, you see a long queue. You can imagine nature score and going to join a queue. Apart from that, the old age people, they are not able to squat on the public toilet, and that's a challenge for them.
The lack of household toilets and its accompanying challenges in Kojo is not different for several residents in Isaman, in Kontompo, and Sekondi.
Meyo. Nti me batsena if you have sisi ame wono. Ache kakra. Na toilet bia so yin ha mo. Nti so do there mo ko toilet a me bra papa. Center me brain there obi a me hu ade na sabia toilet wa kamo anajo. Efe na all the wo somumu wanyem ko ekwantenten anada mpoano ansa na metum ma ko toilet. In fact na me bra pa. Nti bi o mpa sensu ato de mina ma ko toilet na bi o mpa na makobo fom na me pra nti na o mpa na me hu kwan so a menam da menya toilet no bi wa hade because skasam na yeden nti mama na home ntumi ye me toilet kom de na home enkanka maframa no sumpo da ma onso wo ko toilet a gida mpoano so e ko toilet ho ma am de mama ho ye neat nti na ma me prede motum menya baby a mo ko toilet o ben kakra
toilet ni di oye challenges no dusu anwe eye ko mpa no e hasu ko anwe ni ya kafa yareba sisi ai hwanje so me ya visitors o da mo ko amenson anu so je no mum wa ba anwe ya kafa yareba mpo edam ho nti oye den.
For the environmental health analyst of Sekondi-Takoradi, the situation is prone to diseases outbreak.
If you look at lack of household toilet facilities in the community in general, it presupposes that there will be frequent outbreaks of diarrhea diseases like cholera. And for this, there's the need for us to address them. But look, why would people not have household toilet facilities? Is it because they can't afford or they think that it is not necessary? For me, I think we don't prioritize it because after eating, then you should know that digestion will take place. And when digestion takes place, the food will have to come back in a different form. That is the fecal matter. How will you manage that?
We've been looking at ways to improve on the toilet situation in Kojo.
During the cholera outbreak between 4th November and early part of 2025, February, March that way, Sekondi-Takoradi was highly hit and we recorded 80% of the cholera outbreak. And we recorded about 8 deaths. That was for the 2024 later part, and then the early part we recorded additional 3, making it about 11, and it makes the lack of household latrines in homes become very critical.
In recent time, there was cholera outbreak in the ECMA and STMA. About 16 people died. Nobody died from Kodokrom, but a lot of people suffered. And you go inside, the way they treat the place, you wouldn't be motivated to even use it. So a lot of people are resorting to open defecation around, and these are the challenge. I mean, in the assessment in STMA, I think we placed 3rd. The community with open defecation, we placed 3rd.
With the intervention of the Twin Cities and Sustainable Partnership Project, some 500 houses without household toilets in the peri-urban areas of STMA are receiving the needed support.
Based on the census data that we have available from the 2021 population housing census, we realize that predominantly those who don't have household toilets within their dwellings patronize public toilets that are in very deplorable condition. And the Assembly's bylaw is against the use of public toilets in communities and also totally against open defecation. So as part of the interventions that the EU has helped us through the TCSPP project, the project team decided that we should veer into providing household toilets that are of appropriate technology to some of our vulnerable households within these communities. And if I say vulnerable households, we are referring to female-headed households that do not have a sustainable means of livelihood. We are referring to chronically ill older persons who don't have any means of support in terms of family or in terms of employment. We're looking at households that have orphans. We're also looking at households that are part of the list of individuals that benefit from the LEAP intervention.
Fortunately, we had STMA, which announced that it was building a couple of toilets for household, and Kodokrom happened to be one of the beneficiaries. But about 17 household toilets, so far benefiting over 350 people, because every house in Kodokrom is made up of family in a room. So about over 350 people are benefiting from this one.
So far, we have provided 500 household toilets to households that are coming from 33 communities within the metropolis. And the estimated budget for this intervention is 7 million Ghana cedis.
My name is Akwasi from Eklin Akwai company, which have been constructed to do a biodigester for the Twin City project. We are doing 50 facilities in about 20 communities. And then biodigester because we are looking at the efficiency, cost, the user-friendly. It's non-harmful to human. Looking at the water, the effluent that comes out. But the manhole, the effluent accumulates, which introduce the harmful gas. But with this one, there's no harmful gas like that. And that's how we say it's user-friendly. You can sit by it, prepare your own food, do everything that you want to do, which you cannot do with the normal manhole. So therefore, the biodigester is environmental friendly.
But how fair was the selection of beneficiaries?
We brought on board chiefs within those communities, women groups, and assembly members, so that together we can come together with a list that is identifiable and also acceptable to all of them. That's how can we identify some of these individuals. We did not also leave it at that stage. We did a 3-stage verification. First, the individuals brought their list, the key community stakeholders. Then we went to the community level, where we verify the authenticity of the vulnerability and also verified whether the site that the individual had would be appropriate for a biodigester system. So in our metropolis, the household size is basically 3.4. So if you do rough multiplication of some of these, what we are targeting we're targeting over 1,500 individuals within these communities. But we are aware that these toilets are going to serve over 3,500 people within these communities.
They did the scrutiny, and they were able to select these houses, which we confirmed. The palace confirmed, myself we confirmed, and now they are almost done with what the EMA for Kodokrom. We're hoping to continue with this so that a lot of us would take ourselves away from going to join the queue to use the public toilet. In fact, the public toilets were built for travelers, not for us.
Let's say SM for worry dam nam snow damaza moko na ma kopribi. In fact, mtuwana me kwa assembly man ho na me ko bona mane na okada nam dia oba fight na eja me ho mo obaje me particulars wode kwai na e wo man so no wo bai da efe de brass no wo bai toilet no wode amam me yo je pa wo bra wo kana wo bai toilet no nti ampanso obosom enya wa mantimpo ina wo wie na wode meki wode shemsim. In fact, dam toilet na mensakan wa bom papa.
Residents who benefited these free toilets shared horrific stories of the difficulties they endured in attending nature's call.
Toilet make here me wa bom pa because ama me toilet kon wa ye tiamam first nka me ko far away and some etuma ko toilet na me yi wa hanom even other baby mpa sabia me susu me srameka metumpo sabia me sem ho because ebia na we funi oyo na eriko far away and sana ko toilet bodu na chede asem ho poto nti obandam no minya yi asem fo wo ye yi mam no wa bom papa amasisi ano me na maframa ina no aye easy amahen wo hen toilet ko nti ayada me waje ho pa de waye yi wada amahen
not at some the oil na yanka say ye bi bre ye bi no yakoto to ye fasha onko ko fon ko fo mo fini ya na mo ta no so me yije na yonko toilet na yeko mpani street ni yakoto fo mo so ko no politin na yakoto achi no abum mse wa was time for obana mama so na nwa ye ne ye so do ni fa na odamu so no ma na me no ko abum na ko toilet so obaka no ya popeyet na ye ko youth center na wo cho yezi
toilet ni hanse o kama aha wadwun kila mafura me na sebe me ye guma na ko ekotu gwa me sebe ibe abefi haide me de nyame ase sebe abefi a o kama munko gwadim ne mokomidi gwa hamo.
The TCSPP's toilet project went beyond just provision of toilets.
In broader context, this particular intervention is a two-pronged approach where we are targeting to reduce improper fecal waste disposal or liquid waste disposal and also creating employment. So the broader goal was to train 50 odd individuals who are coming from these communities with the appropriate skill of biofuel toilet construction. So currently we have trained 53 individuals in biodigester technology. That is the biofuel toilet construction, also biogas. So these individuals constructed 100 out of the 500 toilets that we have provided so far. And the basic idea is that we wanted to make sure that they have the skill, not just the classroom knowledge, but also the field knowledge that will propel them to provide some of this so they can have a portfolio of works that will indicate to a potential customer that I really have the skill to provide this toilet for you. And one thing that we're also doing is that we asked them to also form social enterprises that we can lend support to them. So currently, as I speak to you, 2 of them have been selected in principle for them to fully establish social enterprises.
We have to be very appreciative to the TCSPP program because besides adding up household toilet facilities to the underserved population, the peri-urban areas, they also help in communication and behavioral change in these communities. And for that matter, this year, we have seen about 2.8% increase in the first quarter of household latrine construction.
We are very grateful to SCMA and the Twin City project, which earmarked Kojokrom for benefiting from that project. And you can see that the entire community is very grateful. They are willing to commit support for this to make it a success.
We don't want to see SCMA. We don't want to see why I say one man in Guasankam. Say, one year you have done more kindness on here, so be paying mutual to them. If you are my same on your face, into me don't want to see why I say.
I will be wild boy and papa. It's in the phone pony, and then you funk and you 2 minutes. You have got 20. So I may ask him, you be a fine woman or toilet now. Why am I? Tell them when I say, wow, what I boy. The movies can feel but not someone I knew.
They stay from Penfunia last. The toilet.
The environmental sanitation unit of the STMA has also been aided tremendously by the program, where they help us to enter into communities, increase or intensify our education in terms of household toilet accessibility or construction in our homes. During the Operation Clean Your Surroundings, they supported heavily, even though the Assembly started the initiative, they supported heavily. The task force was resourced. People in the environmental health units were resourced with gas and fuel allowances and were able to hit the community very well. And I think significant improvements have come in due to the interventions of the Twin City program.
One overwhelming success for me, I'll begin from the training aspects of this particular intervention. I think first of all, we're able to train individuals who were able to construct 100 household toilets. That is a very significant number for young trainees to hone their skills of doing such an elaborate construction of some of these biofuel systems. Second one would be the testimonies of some of the beneficiaries. Imagine someone who is using a wheelchair, who has to fly over 500 meters from his house to access public toilets. That's a very deplorable condition. But this is some of the impact that the project has had on individuals within our communities. And then it's not only meant for, the toilets are not only meant for those individuals, I mean the entire household. This has also given the Assembly the needed impetus to really begin to look at the bylaw again and begin to devise ways that they can support some of these vulnerable households, because the technology works.
I want to say that Oliver Twist asked for more, so we are also asking for more from TCSP. We wish their program don't come to an end now, so that they can aid in providing some of these facilities to especially our vulnerable ones. But besides their contribution, like you said, normally they can't be with us till their kingdom come. So there's the need for Assembly and individuals to start having, how to get these facilities in our home, because they are critical facilities that brings about good health, so that we can keep the health risks that accompany lack of household toilet facilities in our homes within the metropolis.
In terms of sustainability, I see this to go beyond the trainees who have acquired the skills, taking it as a serious business and taking it upon themselves to lend that support or lend that trade to other people to benefit from their skills. But I also see it as a very good starting point for the Assembly to begin to take advantage of its bylaw and also providing incentives for people who may have small financial wherewithal. The Assembly will come in to support them to expand or scale up this technology. I also see it as a very good opportunity for the Assembly to really take a serious view on some sketchy artisans that come within the metropolis to deliver some of this technology. Because on the field, what we will observe is that people are putting up very sketchy, I won't call it biodiversity system. If all of these sketchy systems within our communities end up polluting underground water. So the Assembly, I think that the Assembly currently has a database that we've developed to identify all of these sketchy biosystems, so we can do thorough investigation of how properly they are working and how the Assembly can take advantage of the skills that we provided to correct some of these systems. Without this project, we wouldn't have gotten this data, we wouldn't have gotten this insight to also let the Assembly know what's happening on the ground for them to take corrective actions to prevent any future disasters.